I'm home from hanging with the girls. Can I get a massage?
What up, dude? This your boy Peanut, the People's Nut, the practitioner of life, giving helpful advice. And we back with another one. Man, we're going to be reacting to this video Chris Williams just dropped a few days ago, trying to help women tackle this question, where's the good man? And I think he had some wonderful points and touched on some wonderful things why women are struggling to find the good men. Because it's not like the good men are hiding or they're just in the cave somewhere. It's women's preferences and women's choices. But let's jump into this.
I wrote a pretty spicy article, I think. Is pop culture teaching women to choose emotionally unavailable men? Maybe. What's the weirdest propaganda that you feel like movies have tried to push on you in your lifetime? For me, I grew up with tons and tons of movies that kept saying that the worst thing a man could be is a grown-up. You'd see a love triangle of romances where the guy you're supposed to be rooting against, his only sin is that he's kind of normal. He's got a job and stuff. But then some other guy, a bad boy, would come along and it doesn't matter that he sleeps in his car. Or if both of the guys are financially stable, you're supposed to root for the one that is less emotionally stable, the one that's more childlike. Jason Pargin just broke my brain with this insight. I think it's so right. Like, modern romance culture isn't just telling stories. It's shaping selection criteria. Across movies, media, even mainstream dating advice, women are being subtly conditioned to seek out emotional unavailability and volatility.
And the fact that women have evolved to follow the herd, that's how they survive, by following the crowd. A lot of women don't even realize that they're being manipulated and played to chase these guys. That's why we see all these crazy videos online on women going on 20-something dates and not finding anybody because they're waiting for this spark. And the spark typically comes from a bad boy that sparks their anxiety. Or you see a lot of women from videos of women online saying that the good guy is not enough, that they just didn't feel it, so they don't like the stable guy.
26, 24, 25.
Do you find nice guys or bad boys more attractive?
All bad boys for sure. Bad boys. Bad boys all the way.
So why not go for the nice guy?
They're not confident enough.
They're insecure.
Yes, ma'am.
Insecure in like what ways? Where the bad boy isn't?
Like, if we came out like this, they would be mad. They would get like scared. They would question it.
Yeah.
What do you think a nice guy would say about how you're dressed?
Why are you going out like this?
Yeah.
Like,
Put a t-shirt on.
yeah, that we shouldn't.
But why would a man want his girl to flaunt it to the world?
He should feel grateful that he has a bad bitch. Yeah. She has a bad bitch. Hell yeah, show her off.
Yes.
So if you wanted to come out damn near in a bikini, it should be cool.
Why would we come out in a bikini?
Not a bikini, but some sexy ass shit. Hey, if you date a bad bitch, you're gonna date a bad bitch. Period. Like, you know what you signed up for, you know?
Yeah.
They don't like that stable guy. Stability to a lot of modern women feels like boredom. And boredom is death to women. So they need that movement, that chaos. But to be able to build the foundations or the good signs of a good woman, she will like the everyday, mundane, boring things. She won't need all of that extra excitement, all that extra chaos and all that other stuff, because that's not conducive to build a future or generational wealth. And if you spend any time on Twitter like I do, I don't know if you do, and you see some of these tweets, a lot of these modern women thrive off toxicity. They like that. They like when a dude's not texting them back. They like when he's talking to her some way. I know you've probably seen multiple street interviews where women will pick the scammer over the 9-to-5 guys. So a lot of pop culture and a lot of what women adapt to or seeing from their mate selection is to go towards the emotionally unavailable guy, to go to the unstable guy, to the guy that they call quote unquote struggle love.
The earth says hello. Good morning, starshine.
And while they're entertaining these quote unquote fun guys, because they're also sleeping with them, they have babies with these guys. And then once they get older and mature a little bit more and they see their life responsibilities, that's when they want the stable guy, the boring guy to come fix and save them. And I think a lot of men are saying no mas to that, because you should have chose me. You should have chose me before you had a baby.
Emotional unavailability and volatility as signs of desirability. And the result is a generation of women confusing conflict with compatibility and drama with depth and brokenness with mystery. Rather than choosing partners based on emotional maturity or shared values or long-term compatibility, many are drawn to conflict, aloofness, and unavailability. It's the "he's hard to love, but I can fix him" fantasy, repackaged and repackaged in everything, from films to novels. In The Notebook, Ali chooses Noah, the poor, impulsive, deeply emotional man, over Lon, her secure and respectable fiancé. What's the conclusion? Stability is boring, and true love is obsessive, chaotic, and all-consuming.
And this brings up the question, because a lot of women say men are not leaders. And one component of being a leader is prevention, to protect people from themselves. So that's probably why fathers used to pass their daughters down to the dudes that they married. But a lot of women nowadays do not use the men that's in their immediate circle, that their family. They don't use those men to help vet for a good partner, a suitable mate. So on one hand, can you actually protect women from making these poor decisions and choosing these aloof or all of these people because that's what pop culture telling them, and that's when they feel the spark? And on the other hand, letting them make their own bad decisions and not feeling the need to help clean up when they make their own bad decisions. Which one do you do?
True love is obsessive, chaotic, and all-consuming. In Titanic, the scene that makes you like Jack more than Rose's wealthy fiancé Cal is that, for fun, Cal just sits and has quiet conversations with his friends, whereas Jack has fun with big, loud parties, and the movie portrays this as him living more authentically or living life to its fullest. But really, he's just living like a teenager. He has nothing to offer Rose in terms of reliability or safety, yet this brief, fiery connection is portrayed as more authentic than anything she could have had with a professional fiancé. In Twilight, Edward Cullen is dangerous and obsessive and emotionally tortured, and that is precisely what makes him desirable. Bella's rejection of Jacob, who's warm and grounded, underscores the trope. Right? Safe is boring, danger is hot. Beauty and the Beast takes it even further by literalizing the fantasy. Love turns rage and violence into virtue. Similarly, A Star is Born presents Ali's rise and Jackson Maine's spiral as tragically intertwined. Her love is deepened, not diminished, by how much he unravels. This is a twist on something called the Byronic hero. It's a literary archetype based on the persona of poet Lord Byron. He's usually emotionally isolated or unavailable. He's often morally ambiguous or anti-heroic. He's at odds with society or authority, possesses a tragic past or trauma, and women are often drawn to him despite his destructiveness. Even modern women's advice keeps repackaging difficult as passionate. Teen Vogue runs headlines like, "Superbad, why are smart girls drawn to bad boys?" The Sun gushes about why the sexiest stars go for the bad men. The takeaway is, if he's cold, complicated, or broken, he must be worth it. Safety is sterile and suffering is sexy.
I'm gonna pause it right there because I partially don't agree with him, because it's like mystery is attraction, and you can't control attraction. Attraction is based off emotions, not logic. So these women are emotionally drawn to these type of men, but logically they're not good for these type of men. Like it's not conducive to building a stable family and everything like that. So I won't fully blame the women, like saying that you should just choose these people, because attraction is not a choice. It's kind of like, look, don't get me wrong, don't do this incest, but it's kind of like your brother and sister. Familiarity kills attraction and desire. So the more men, or those type of stable men, make things safety and familiar, we kind of kill attraction for women. Like that, you become basically her brother, or like they like to say, the roommate that they having sex with. So they need all of these other dynamics to stay, that masculine and feminine pool. They need that polarity to stay attracted to you.
The takeaway is, if he's cold, complicated, or broken, he must be worth it. Safety is sterile and suffering is sexy. There's a neuroscience trick being played on us all here, though. Things that are valuable are often hard to get, but just because something is hard to get does not mean it's valuable, which is why scarcity and unavailability are often mistaken for worth. Romance stories reward the woman who wins the affection of the aloof or emotionally damaged man. The harder he is to access, the more meaningful his eventual affection feels. In reality, sure, perhaps there is a noble savage who can be saved by the right woman, but realistically, this just prioritizes partners who are not capable of commitment over ones who already are put together and ready to go. Typically, coyness isn't love. It's emotional immaturity masquerading as romantic spark. The problem is that intermittent reinforcement is the exact mechanism that drives addiction. You are not in love, you're hooked. Variable schedule reward is the bullseye of dopamine. It's how slot machines work and why social media is so compelling. Our brain says, if something is scarce, it must be more precious. And we take this economic dynamic into our love lives. So if someone stops texting us, or we feel like they're drifting, all of a sudden our brain says they must be important. If they say, here I am, I genuinely like you and very much want to commit, our brains respond with, what's wrong with you? If you treat me like crap and you're in and out of my life and you text me a bit and then you go cold and I don't hear from you, many people think they might be the one. It is no coincidence that so many modern relationships do not begin with mutual understanding, but with a chase. We have taught women.
I have to pause it and disagree again. It's kind of like a movie that leaves a cliffhanger. You're going to want to watch next week. So you can't reveal everything to a woman up front. Just be like, hey, I like you. And then just be consistent. Because, yeah, like he said, psychologically, you're going to be like, this is not valuable, because you should be valuing your own time. You should not just open up the floodgates and give it to a woman without her showing any type of signs and earning it. And then when she becomes your committed girlfriend and your wife. So that's why I say you got to have that balance of what he's saying, like that bad boy, but also understand what goes into a relationship and being a good guy, a guy of integrity, a guy that's consistent, a guy that's disciplined. So, and another thing for men, Schopenhauer said it the best. He's an old school philosopher. The very thing about men that attracts women in the early stages is not the same type of man that she needs during the later stages, or the ones that she's going to stay connected and desire to. Those are two different males. So men have to find that perfect balance of creating safety and comfort, but also having that mystery and still continue to grow and have your own inner world in your own world. Because that's what women value at the beginning. They value your independence. They value you being self-fulfilled. But then when you become a mate or us, a lot of men throw that out the window because you kind of have to be in a relationship. You have to sacrifice certain parts of yourself.
Begin with mutual understanding, but with a chase. We have taught women to interpret emotional inconsistency as romantic tension, to pursue the man who offers breadcrumbs of affection instead of consistent support.
But I will say, modern society has normalized dysfunction in a lot of ways as we date, a lot of ways that we mate and everything, especially when you view all the content online. I will say that most of modern society has normalized dysfunction.
To pursue the man who offers breadcrumbs of affection instead of consistent support. To believe that love is meant to be hard-earned, not freely given. And this has real consequences. It normalizes dysfunction. It rewires attraction around trauma. It sidelines healthy men and glorifies emotionally stunted ones. And it leaves women feeling like emotional burnout is the price that they have to pay for passion. Emotionally mature, transparently keen, and immediately available men are ignored in place of someone who amounts to little more than an effective dopamine trigger. This is why so many guys have so little sympathy for the "where are all of the good men at?" question. Whether it's through painful personal experience or by being subliminally reminded of it in pop culture, men who are ready to commit are fearful of doing so because they've noticed that many women seem to like them more and soften up when they're mistreated and kept guessing. I saw this comment from a guy on Instagram which encapsulates this perfectly. He said, "I'm trapped in a generation where I don't know whether to buy her flowers or ignore her to get her to like me." Men will do what women demand of them in order to get laid. Women set the standards for sex, and men meet them. There's this idea from Roy Baumeister. He says, "Although this might be considered an unflattering characterization, we have found no evidence to contradict the basic general principle that men will do whatever is required in order to obtain sex, and perhaps not a great deal more." One of us characterized this in previous work as, if women would stop sleeping with jerks, men would stop being jerks. If, in order to obtain sex, men must become pillars of the community, or lie, or amass riches by fair means or foul, or be romantic, or be funny, then men will do precisely that. So, similarly, if men need to be broken, flaky, non-committal, and inconsistent, they will meet these standards appropriately. Women's mate choices, modern romance culture, and girl magazines are not at fault for emotionally unavailable behavior in men.
I'm gonna make sure I drop the link to the full video down below in the description box because it's a lot more to go. But like he alluded to, I think women have blamed men so much for so long that they don't realize how much power they have over the dating market or the behavior of men when it comes to sex and marriage. Because so many women, especially because of the sexual revolution, they wanted to move freely and have sex without being married, because some women have been brainwashed to believe that marriage was oppression, but they didn't look at the other side of it being hookup culture. So a lot of women have contributed or wanted hookup culture to continue through their choices and their mate selection. So like you said, a lot of men adapt to that because they want to get laid. So it's really up to you, ladies, to decide in masses how men will come and if more men will start to want marriage and propose, or not to just sleep around, because so many women are sleeping around, especially in the early stages of their life. But I like to hear from you guys. Do you have sympathy for the women that you see online asking where are the good men? And do you also believe they may have encountered a good man in their life, they just overlooked them? But this is your boy Peanut, the People's Nut, man. Until next time, peace. Ain't got the bread, need to reroute that.